All right, folks. Ryan Krager here, man who would be night. Just getting started with my workout this morning, doing some combos on the heavy bag and with the circuit pistol. Thought I'd stream it, see how it goes. I want to talk through some ideas about what combos are and how to set them up and how to think through a good functional combo. So we're going to start with my warm up, which is first 5 minutes of jump rope. And don't laugh at my jump rope technique. I kind of suck at it. So for my Tuesday and Thursday workouts, over the last 6 weeks now, almost 6 weeks, I've been concentrating on using the heavy bag. And what I did before I started this set of workouts, this particular cycle, is I got a piece of paper, or actually I typed it up on the computer. I typed up combos. A total of 52 combos, one for each card in the standard playing deck. One for each card in the standard playing deck. We're starting, each suit had a different focus. So clubs and spades are starting on the lead hand or the reverse hand. Diamonds starting with a kick. And hearts starting with, I think, a check. And then starting from deuce, 3, and 4 being the very most basic moves in that category. And then getting gradually more complex as they work their way up to the face cards and the ace. It was an interesting idea, and it's actually worked out tolerably well. Oh, I didn't realize this was in the picture. My water bottle. It's actually works out fairly well, but some of the combos, because I was just making them up and just typing them out, some of them work better than others. But it was a good training aid for me because it got me thinking about what makes a good combo, why some combos work and some don't. And I came up with some ideas about how to design combos and how to implement them into training. So we'll start with what we're training for, right? There's a difference between training for self-defense and a difference in training for martial arts as a sport. If I'm going into a ring or an octagon to duke it out with an equally trained athlete, or one would hope equally trained, I need to have a different focus. My mind needs to be in a different place than if I'm going into a dark alley or just walking down the street and I get blindsided by somebody with a knife. Or if I hear my front door get kicked open in the middle of the night. Two completely different mindsets. Some of the principles still apply. I was watching a video by a Thai boxer who was talking about a fight that he set up, or a fight that he won against an actual Thai champion, Thai boxing champion, who was known for his ability to dodge and slip. People would kick for him, and he would just shift his head just an inch outside of their kicking range. Told you I kind of suck at jump rope. Just an inch or two outside of their kicking range, and I would completely miss, but it would be enough to throw them off. So this guy, the guy who eventually beat him, he developed the strategy. He and his team decided they were just going to use longer combos because there's only so many times you can do this before you start getting off balance yourself. So they would force him into a maneuver to avoid a technique, and then they would hit him with some other some other technique that he was then no longer in a position to avoid. 20 more seconds. So that got me thinking, one of the main purposes of a combo is to counter your opponent's ability to defend. In fact, I would go so far as to say that is the only purpose of a combo. All right, going into some light shadow boxing, so I'll show you what I mean. For the light shadow boxing portion of the warm-up, I'm concentrating mostly on technique, so I'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So if I throw a straight punch, fairly easy to defend. He's just going to go like this. He's going to slip and cover, slip and cover to the other side, and I'm open to a counterattack because my hand is out there. So that jab, very useful technique. I'm kind of pulling it back so as not to be open to a counterattack, but it's not going to overwhelm his defenses. He's going to defend against it. A combo, like so 1-2, 1-2, 1 teep, or on the southpaw like I like to fight, 1-2, 1. What I'm doing is I'm engaging his defenses on one level and then attacking with the real attack on another level. So that works in the ring, that works in terms of boxing the ring. You don't see many boxers just going in and throwing one punch over and over again, or a hook over and over again, or a cross over and over again. They throw combos. When they defend, they'll check and then immediately go into a counterattack. And if you watch what the pros are doing, you kind of learn from them that, hey, maybe I ought to be doing that too. When I defend and I cover, immediately come in for a hook. When I cover, immediately come in for a hammer fist. So then I got to thinking, well, what makes a combo successful? Again, you look at champions fighting in the ring, their combos will change something up. And what I kind of broke it down to after thinking about it for a while is they're going to change level, side, and angle of attack. So level, high, low, high, low. Like in karate, you of course, you've got that drop low for that straight reverse punch. Yeah, somebody hits you in the old testicles with that, you're probably going to be having a bad day. So engage the defenses up high, engage them or slip past them with an attack down low. So they'll change level, change sides. This is the most basic one. This is something that every street fighter does. If they're coming in with that flurry of punches, it's just wildly flailing. They're trying to get your guard up on one side and then hit you as hard as they can from the other side. So probably after the wild swinging single punch where they try to knock you out with that first hit, it's probably the second most common attack would be a wild flurry of just 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Changing sides. Now, that's a very basic level of combo. It's not super effective against a trained fighter because when I've got punches coming straight at me, they're coming on different sides, but the point of origin of both attacks is the width of my shoulder. What I mean by that is this attack is coming from here, you draw a straight line to there, and this attack is coming from here, draw a straight line to here. Makes the point of the triangle, the base of which is no wider than my shoulders. So yes, they're coming in slightly different angles, but they're also coming from more or less the same point. they're going to be on more or less the same trajectory. And they're coming to the same endpoint. So really all I have to do is just cover. Just put my hands up like this, kind of keep my eyes between them, maybe get my elbows out, try and intercept a fist with an elbow, and watch for my opportunity, watch for him to get tired. Because you can only throw that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for a few seconds before you start getting gassed. So changing sides is important, but it's at the basic level of combo. Changing levels is much more effective. And then the other thing they'll change is angle. What I mean by that is straight from the side. Two different angles of attack. A straight punch is coming right in against here. I cover, but if you look at me from the side, this ear is now open, and that round punch, that hook, is going to try and get in behind my hand, behind my elbow, and smack me in that ear and get that knockout there. So changing sides, 2 straight punches, changing angles. So I'm changing angles without changing sides and angles, changing levels, changing level and side, changing level, side, and angle. Straight in. So when I got to thinking about how to redesign my combos for the next go round, my next section of programming, I brought those principles into play. So when I throw that combo, notice I'm changing side every time. That gets to be predictable. 1, 2, so those, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That becomes predictable. He's like, okay, well, that attack hit me from here, next attack's gonna hit me here, 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 here. But what if it's changing? So first I'm changing angle, shooting out straight, covers like this, change the distance a little bit, maybe slip off to the side, and try and get that hook in around behind his hands. He brings maybe that draws his arms over to this side, his block over to this side to try and cover for that. And there's that left hook. And then as he's bringing his arms out, that jab, finish up with a cross. Basic, like, as I'm designing these combos, I need to be picturing in my head, thinking, what is this guy like to do? Now, in this context, I'm talking about a ring fight. Somebody, we both have gloves, nobody's armed, nobody has buddies hiding in the shadows waiting to come out and jump me. It makes it pretty straightforward. What does a combo look like on the street? Let's think of it in terms of what I'm changing weapons, changing tools, changing the options that are available to me. Most likely, I'm going to be blindsided. I'm a big guy. People don't pick fights with me. They're not going to come up and square off and be like, hey, let's go, man. Maybe they will, but not very likely. They're going to hit me from the side or from the back when I'm not looking. They're going to try and get an unequal advantage in size, strength, numbers, timing, surprise, weaponry. They're going to get the advantage on their side. They don't want to fight. They want to defeat and get a meal, get a paycheck, or just, the satisfaction of killing somebody, whatever their motivation may be. So that's the first thing to realize, is that in the ring, I'm assuming that I'm delivering the combo, he's on the receiving end of it. On the street, I'm assuming that I am on the receiving end of a combo that I didn't see coming. So it's hard to train that alone, I found, because the bag doesn't hit back. What I would ideally want is somebody to stand behind the bag and, without warning, just slam that bag into me as hard as I can. So if I'm standing right here, have somebody teep kick that bag right into my flank here. And then I would have to cover, square off, create distance. And now I'm using combos in a defensive way. So like I said before, if you watch the pro fighters, after they cover or check, they automatically go into an attack. they automatically go into a counterattack. So let's say I'm standing here and the bag hits me. I'm going to try and get low, create some space, get my base under me so they can't take me down. Create some space like this, using my elbows to cover my ribs, my hands to cover my head, get as much territory covered as I can. Whatever side the combos are coming in on, shift my block over to that side, and then start delivering whatever damage I can, counterattacking, creating space, getting back to a point where I can watch my options. Like, I need to create that tactical pause where I can analyze the situation and decide what I'm going to do next. And the reason why I need to do that is because I need to analyze, is this a lethal force encounter or not? Changes things. If it's not, if this is just some guy unarmed, like maybe one of my buddies is just trying to have fun, which is dumb. But let's say that's the case. Well, I don't want to draw my gun and shoot him. But let's say I've been stabbed a couple times at this point. I want to get enough space where I can clear and I can use a weapon to equalize the proposition. So when I'm training for the ring, I'm assuming that I am delivering the combo against an opponent. When I'm training for the street, I'm assuming that I am getting on the receiving end of a combo that I didn't see coming. And that's where it's very difficult to train alone. I need a training partner to kind of simulate that attack. But for the purposes of my garage gym, where I'm all by myself at 4:30 in the morning, I can start working on that by imagining that I get hit, creating my space and my frames, and then delivering counterattacks with whatever weapon, at whatever angle, at whatever level makes sense based on his position. So then creating space, analyzing the situation, deciding whether or not to engage with lethal force. So I'll run that a couple times and then I'll get on with the actual workout. And I'll turn the camera off for that because you guys don't need to see how bad my combos are. All right, so get hit, create my space, create my frames. Get hit, create my space, create my frame. Back off. That was not a good close quarters draw. I think I was visualizing him rushing in on me, still stiff arming while trying to maintain a close quarters presentation. Something to think about when you're thinking about drawing a concealed weapon in a combative situation is you may be so close to him that he doesn't realize that you have a gun. So what I mean by that is if we're fighting like this and he's tying at my arm and I think, let's say I see movement out of the corner of my eye and I realize, hey, this guy's got buddies, this may be a lethal situation. I'm trying to create space to get that draw out. Now, I don't need to create a whole lot of space. From here, I can shoot from retention. And that's why I'm keeping my hand up at the level of my head so that I don't accidentally shoot myself in the back of the hand. But what if I'm wrong and this is not a lethal force situation? What if he's unarmed? I'm probably going to prison for a very long time if I shoot him and he's unarmed. That's a very real possibility. I need to make sure, if at all possible, I need to make sure that he is actually aware that I have a gun. So if you can imagine, his head is right here, and he's pummeling my sides and my head and trying to just beat me down. He has no idea at this point that I have a gun and that it's ready to just pump lead into his heart. I need to make sure that he is aware. I need to create the space to where I can actually present the gun and use it as a de-escalator of the situation. Let him, what I mean by de-escalator is convince him that this, whatever it is that he's looking for, is not worth it. That's what I want to convince him of, is that this is not worth it. That starts with the initial combo. So I get hit. backing off. Maybe I see that he's just unarmed, but he's still frisky. And then counterattacking. Coming in with that counterattack. You can play that game. I can blitz back. Trying to convince him that this situation is not worth it. But ties me up, play some space, backing off, and I draw my gun. Now I need to make sure that he's aware that this is not, the stakes have just been, the ante has just gone up. The stakes are higher now. So back off. I can present right up in his face, ready to pull the trigger. And of course, always aware of the possibility that he might reach out and try and grab it. Anyway, if that seemed a little disjointed, it's only because it was. I was kind of making it up as I went along. I'll look it over later and see if it was actually worth watching and whether it's worth doing more of these. Talk to you guys later.